come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is done by big World Series for Reggie Jackson.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back and throw. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them over the faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays there, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. Yes, it's been back. One out.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Thursday edition of the program. I am your host, Dan Scott, chiefly because nobody else wants to be. Looking forward to the next hour, and boy, we have got a busy show lined up for you today. We're going to continue our Southern Conference previews by looking at the team picked as the preseason number 1 in this league, the Sanford Bulldogs. Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com will join us via phone at 10:25 to help us preview Furman's season opener with Clemson over at Death Valley. He covers Clemson for that website and has for many years. At 10:45, Furman men's soccer coach Doug Allison will be in the chair right beside me here. And we would have a lot to talk about anyway, but on top of what's going on with his soccer team now, we have the dynamic of the announcement that came from the U.S. men's national soccer team last night that Clint Dempsey, the former Furman standout, has announced his retirement. And we've got a little video tribute that we'll play for you at the end of the program for Clint Dempsey. But obviously, Doug will have some thoughts on that as well. So, again, it is a jam-packed show, and we're looking forward to spending this next hour with you at something of a breakneck pace. I will remind you again, and this is very, very important, the brand new website needs traffic, and we need you to go out to thedanscottshow.com. There it is at the top of your screen, thedanscottshow.com. Spend a little bit of time there. Look at the different pages. Check out the resources page. Again, I tell you that you go to the resources page, you get information and websites on every Division I school in the state of South Carolina. You get all the major national sports websites, and you get a list of what I call Dan's favorites, where you can see some of the things that I like to stroll through from time to time. So, and if there's something you'd like added to those lists, by all means, please let us know. But the idea is to get Google to recognize the traffic and start doing the things that Google does with the search engine optimization and all that stuff. Brand new website, and we're looking forward to watching it grow. But please go spend some time there, thedanscottshow.com, and help us get the site traffic up and help us keep it rolling. We'll be adding more to it, tweaking it as we go along, and trying to make it as optimized as we possibly can for your interacting pleasure. So because we've got so much to do, we've got to jump right into it today. I will remind you that coming up tomorrow on the program, if I get to the schedule, tomorrow on the program, Scott Keeler will be in studio. We'll take a look at some of the major high school football games that will be going on in the upstate of South Carolina. That's at 10:25 tomorrow. Then Furman baseball coach Brett Harker is going to join us at 10:45. We really never got a chance to do a end-of-season wrap-up with Brett, so we're going to try to condense that into parlaying his excitement now that the freshmen are on campus. Fall ball starts in just a few weeks, and he is one excited guy. Recruiting continues to go well. A lot of changes from last year's team, as I'm sure you have seen by now. We'll let Brett talk about all of that and the dynamics, what it means moving forward. That's coming up on tomorrow's show at 10:45. No show on Monday because of the Labor Day holiday. And then on Tuesday, which after next week we'll go 2 Mondays, but next week has to be Tuesday. Don Clardy, former Furman wide receiver, at 10:15, and we're going to do this every week. He's going to come on and he's going to give us thoughts about the just completed Furman game that week, but also Don is going to take the 1988 schedule. He was a member of that 88 team, and this is the diamond anniversary of the 88 national championship team. So we're going to take that schedule week by week, and Don's going to give us his thoughts on those games, and we're going to take that stroll down memory lane on a weekly basis with Don Clardy. He's a financial advisor for New York Life. He'll probably tell you some stuff about that as well. And we're looking forward to having him in studio with us on Tuesday of next week, and then Mondays following, of course, because of the Labor Day holiday this week. So that's what's coming up. And we look forward to having you on board for all of it, I hope. Please help us spread the word about the show. Got a lot of great things brewing here, a lot of good stuff going on, and especially this time of year, man, it just gets incredibly busy. And we got a lot of good content coming at you, and we want you to help us get the word out to people. Furman fans, you get Furman Talk here every day. You do not get daily Furman Talk anywhere else. If you're not a Furman fan, we got plenty of stuff for you on a daily basis as well. Show is brought to you every day by Carolina Creative and my buddy Randy Looper. He and his staff are the ones who did the website we were just talking about, thedanscottshow.com. They can do for you. They can, if you need a website, they can do it. If you need a logo, they can do it. If you need help with your branding, with your development, brand strategy, all of those things, they can do it for you. They are top-notch. They work with some of the heaviest hitters in the upstate and beyond, and then they work with the little guys like me, and they treat you all the same. Randy is he's fantastic people. The phone number is 250-2012, and online it's carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative, not just simple, but simply brilliant. All right, when we come back, we will spend a little bit of time with our Southern Conference preview. I think this wraps us up. The Sanford Bulldogs, preseason number 1 in the league. They are up for this morning's preview. And then at 10:25, it is Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com to help us talk about the Clemson game coming up on Saturday. As we go to break, a word from Make-A-Wish and a lot more. This is the Dan Scott Show. We are just getting started on a Thursday. Don't go away.
For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant more life-changing wishes. Visit Make-A-Wish online now. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott. You know, I've been telling you for some time now that I switched the protection of my home and family to Security Complete. I can tell you that I've been ecstatic with the results. Locally owned with more than 40 years experience in the industry, Security Complete uses nothing but the latest technology, which equals low overhead, which equals greater savings to the customer. Fully automated systems with monitoring rates much lower than the competition. Security Complete gives you all this and does not require a contract of any length. Find out more by calling 864-546-0630 or find them on Facebook and Twitter. Security Complete, my first line of defense. Make them yours today.
When you go in search of a fence company, what's your criteria? Experience? Trust? A company that gets it right the first time and stands behind its work? Then your search is over. Faulkner Fence has been Greenville's fence company for more than 40 years. Ed Faulkner started the business, and now son Todd continues the tradition of excellence. So regardless of your fencing needs, commercial, industrial, or residential, trust the company that Greenville has trusted for over 4 decades. Faulkner Fence, 864-271-4626, or online at faulknerfencecompany.com.
If you're looking for the perfect frame for that special photo or painting, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca can deliver for you. Family owned for nearly 4 decades, Trevor and the folks at Custom Corners Frame Shop pride themselves on quality, presentation, and professionalism. They offer picture framing for every budget, and every job is custom. Custom Corners Frame Shop also sells work from local artists as well as locally themed gifts. For more information, visit them at 289 Market Street in Seneca. Call 864-882-7736 or find them on Facebook, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
All right, we are moving right along here on this edition of the Dan Scott Show. Good to have you with us. I am Dan, oddly enough, as people will tell you. I've been odd pretty much all my life. Word about Atlanta Bread Company. You ask, Dan, what do you like about Atlanta Bread? And I say too much to mention in a short period of time, but there are some things I can share with you. Bread baked fresh daily on site. Tremendous selection of soup, sandwiches, and salads. Seasonal special additions to the menu. Delicious hot coffee and a bevy of other drink options. And yeah, even though I'm not supposed to go near that counter right now, the baked sweet goodies, my goodness, all done fresh right there. Dine in or carry out. And remember, when you have the Atlanta Bread Company app, you can order and pay online. Then you just breeze past the lines to the pickup counter to get your food. Experience it for yourself. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. Stop by and say hello to my good friend Jeff Massey and his wife Amber, and please tell them that you heard about them here on the show. All right, we have been giving you these SoCon previews since last week, and I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think this wraps us up, but and we'll double-check that. But anyway, the team picked preseason number 1 in the league, the Samford Bulldogs, up now on today's Southern Conference preview from the SoCon Digital Network. Check it out.
Hello, welcome into Samford's 2018 Southern Conference Football Preview. I'm John McAfoose, joined first by Samford head coach Chris Hatcher. Coach, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be on the show today.
Let's jump right in and start by talking about the offense. A lot of, pretty much everyone really returning on that side of the ball, including quarterback Devlin Hodges, SoCon preseason Offensive Player of the Year. Talk about that side of the ball. You've got a lot of weapons. What do you expect from them, and how do they continue to improve?
Hopefully we'll be more consistent to start the season than we were last year. You know, last year we broke in a new offensive line for the most part. Our outside receivers were fairly new and lacked some experience at running back. So, you know, we kind of relied on Devlin and Kelvin McKnight and Chris Schelling to kind of carry us through the first part of the season till we figured out who we were. So far in training camp, I've been very pleased with our offensive line. Their consistency and their buy-in to what we're trying to do has been tremendous. I think they've improved greatly. And we got some more weapons to go along with Schelling and McKnight now that they have a year under their belt. So I expect big things out of that group, but it really helps to have a quarterback with the experience that Duck has at this time, because he's the guy that really makes us go. So hopefully we'll hit game 1 running on all cylinders this season.
A little bit of a different story on the defensive side of the ball as far as guys coming back. You do have some key returners, guys like Ahmad Gooden, but a couple of key departures as well, and guys like Shahid Salmon and Dion Pierre. Who do you see filling some of those spots, and what do you expect out of the defensive group?
Well, you know, we have some good playmakers over there, okay? Now, it is hard to replace the productivity that Shahid brought to us last year, and you got Xavier Forrest and you know, some really good defensive linemen that we lost. So depth is a factor right now. We're working on that through camp, trying to find who's going to be the next guy. But we have some good returners. You mentioned Ahmad. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. Everybody's got to know where he is at all times. You know, Sam Petway has had a good camp. Coy Freeman looks really good. Christian Matthews, the transfer from Georgia Southern, has had a good camp up to this point. He's a long corner that Coach DeTavio really likes. But you know, we got to have some guys step up. And right now it's a little bit too early to call, but you know, I've been around Billy D for 3 years, and he always seems to find a way to put a great unit on the field. I expect this year to be no different.
Certainly some pretty high expectations for the program this year. Picked to win the SoCon by both the coaches and the media. And it's the first time Samford's ever been picked to win its conference since it's been a Division I program. Internally, what are the expectations of you and your staff as to what you can accomplish?
Well, you know, first of all, as coaches aren't real smart, so you can't put a lot into the coaches poll, okay? And then, you know, the media, man, you guys are the smartest ones out of everybody, so I'll go on that poll. But, you know, we've worked hard to get to this point, and, you know, we've been close the past 2 years. You know, whether we finish the season number 1 or not is yet to be determined, of course. A lot of that has to depend on how good everybody else is. But we're embracing the expectations. Our goal is to be the best, is to be number 1. And we know we got a lot of work to do, and we got to do it quickly. We got to have a lot more urgency than we've had up to this point in camp if we want to finish the season as the media and the coaches have predicted it to be fit to work out.
How do the players kind of handle some of that buzz, and how do you keep them level-headed and not thinking too far ahead?
It's difficult, especially in the day and age that we're in with the social media. And the only concern that I really have is that our guys get to listening to it too much because they've not been in this position before. But hopefully this is a recurring theme year in and year out as long as I'm the coach at Samford. So, the big thing with us right now, do we deserve to be successful this season? I mean, that's the biggest question. Are we putting in forth the effort each and every day to deserve success once the first game arrives? And we'll have to wait and see if we've done that or not.
Let's talk about the strength of your schedule. It's a pretty tough challenge for you guys. You've got a road trip to Tallahassee to play Florida State under the lights. You've got a trip to Kennesaw to play a team that's being picked in the top 5 in most polls. And, of course, a really tough Southern Conference schedule, a league that's really gotten better every year and sent 3 teams to the playoff last year. Top to bottom, it's a pretty challenging schedule for you this year.
I think at the end of the day, the Southern Conference race is always wide open. I mean, all of us are very good football teams, and the margin for error is small. I mean, if you look back at our scores, they all come down. The games always come down to the last couple minutes of the game. We've been fortunate to be on the right end of those scores more so than not. But, so you forget that sometimes. And then on the flip side of it, we got a difficult schedule. We play our 8 league games. We open up with Shorter, which we have no idea what type of team they're going to bring in here. And then, of course, you play Florida State. But the bigger game out of all those is the Kennesaw game. You got a team that we played twice. We split with last season. They made a great run in the playoffs. You mentioned they're a top-ranked, top 5, top 10 opponent at their place. So there's not a week for us to not be at our best. So we'll kind of see what we're made out of with that type of championship caliber schedule.
Coach, thanks again for your time.
Appreciate you having me.
That's Samford head coach Chris Hatcher. Stay tuned. We've still got interviews with both Ahmad Gooden and Devlin Hodges coming up next on Samford's 2018 Southern Conference Football Preview. Welcome back to Samford's 2018 Southern Conference Football Preview. I'm joined now by Devlin Hodges and Ahmad Gooden. Guys, thanks for taking the time, and I want to start by talking about some of the individual accolades that you guys have gotten. Named the preseason SoCon Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year. You're both on some pretty big awards watch lists. What does that mean for you guys? And Ahmad, we can start with you.
The biggest thing is responsibility. Having those accolades really just raise the bar at the competition level, how I look at myself as a player, and kind of how other players look at me on my team and the SoCon, rest of the FCS. I just got to be a competitor every day at everything.
Devlin?
Yeah, Ahmad hit it spot on. That's one thing I never really thought of, is definitely the way other people look at you, especially teams that we play against, that you're probably going to get their best. And, it's awesome. It's awesome that me and Ahmad are up there, we feel like we represent Samford well, and it's exciting, but I wouldn't say it adds any pressure or anything, but it just makes it like a goal and a lot more fun to go out there and, compete for.
Let's talk about the expectations around the team. There's a lot of buzz. You guys have made the playoffs 2 years in a row. You're picked by the media and the coaches to win the SoCon this season. For you guys, what has to happen for you to consider it a successful season?
I'll start us off. Obviously, win a SoCon. Win a SoCon, and then make a run in playoffs and win a national championship. That's our goal. I'm not trying to get too far ahead, but we just need to focus on one game at a time. Going out there beating Shorter, and then going each game each week. Playing our best, and Coach says we've been one game away every year for the past 2 years. So that one game can mean a SoCon championship. That one game can mean another win in the playoffs. So it's just something that we got to go out and make sure that we stay consistent. And I feel like for me and Ahmad, we got to make sure that we don't let the team ever get satisfied, and we always got a hungry edge to us.
Ahmad, anything you'd like to add?
To add just anything, we already know how it feels playing in those big games. We've been in the playoffs twice. We fell short to a couple good teams that could have clinched a SoCon championship. So we know we have some guys that are experienced, and we know how it feels to play in those games. So just like Doug said, we're gonna take it day by day because we know what we're capable of. We know our potential. We know what we can do.
So there's your Samford preview, and those are two pretty good players, the preseason offensive and defensive players of the year in this league. Devlin Hodges, the quarterback, and Ahmad Gooden, the defensive end. They are both deserving of that honor, and both are difference makers. It's going to be a big challenge anytime you go up against the Bulldogs. But listen, as we have seen, this conference has continued to get better and better. And I go back a few years when Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, Elon, from a football standpoint, bailed. You add College of Charleston and Davidson to that in basketball when they left, and people wondered, man, what is going to become of the Southern Conference? Well, it's been just fine. Thank you very much. The league is restocked. It's reloaded. And 2 years ago, 4 teams in the playoff field. Last year, 3. And it seems to be just getting nothing but stronger and stronger, top to bottom. And looking forward to another fantastic year of competition. We need to take a break. We'll come back, and when we do, Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com will join us, and we'll preview the Clemson Tigers, Furman's opening day opponent on Saturday over at Death Valley, and we'll do that right after this. First, though, quick word from, among others, Gail Sartain, Realtor. We'll return in just a moment. When you're looking for the home of a lifetime, you need a realtor you can trust. With more than 27 years' experience selling real estate, Gail Sartain is the choice to help the discriminating buyer find the home of their dreams. Licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia, Gail specializes in homes on beautiful lakes Hartwell and Kiwi, as well as the surrounding areas, and has a wealth of experience working with people with technical backgrounds. Now is the time to buy, sell, and invest in real estate in the Clemson-Seneca area. Let Gail help you realize that dream today. Call her at 404-317-3171. That's Gail Sartain, a member of the National Association of Realtors.
Looking for a great car, but your credit needs work? Premier Automotivations is a professional referral service motivated to help you drive a car you love while rebuilding your credit. Late model cars of all kinds. Premier Automotivations can get you on the road and your credit on the road to recovery today. Serving all of upstate South Carolina, it's Premier Automotivations. Call Sherry today at 864-722-3785 or email cricketgravely@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show.
When you go in search of a fence company, what's your criteria? Experience? Trust? A company that gets it right the first time and stands behind its work? Then your search is over. Faulkner Fence has been Greenville's fence company for more than 40 years. Ed Faulkner started the business, and now son Todd continues the tradition of excellence. So regardless of your fencing needs, commercial, industrial, or residential, trust the company that Greenville has trusted for over 4 decades. Faulkner Fence, 864-271-4626, or online at faulknerfencecompany.com.
All right, we are back. Good to have you with us as we continue on a very, very busy Thursday. Coming up at 10:45 in studio, Furman soccer coach Doug Allison. And as I said, we'd have a lot to talk about anyway. But with the retirement announcement of U.S. men's national team standout Clint Dempsey, who started his soccer career here at Furman, we'll have a little more to talk about with Doug coming up in just a little bit. Quick word, if I can, before we go to the celebrity guest line, about our friends at Hall's Chop House, the Greenville Steakhouse in downtown Greenville. Again, folks, it starts with the steaks, the Allen Brothers Prime Steaks, and then the menu falls into place under there. But the most important thing that I can tell you, as busy as it is, it's high-end dining. They are absolutely swamped on a nightly basis. Billy and his staff have a unique way of making your table feel like it's the most important one in the place, and that takes a lot of dedication to the job. Not every place you go, as you well know, makes you feel that way. They have lunch now available on Fridays and Saturdays. They are open for brunch on Sunday. Live music every time the doors are open. That is Hall's Chop House, the Greenville Steakhouse in downtown Greenville. Please tell them that you heard about them here on the Dan Scott Show. All right, we are going to the celebrity guest line now and welcoming in a dear friend of ours. I hesitate to call him an old friend because I think he and I are both aging at about the same rate now, but years and years ago on the old radio show over in Clemson, Larry Williams was a regular guest to help us break down all things Clemson. And, well, when Furman and Clemson get together, you go to the well one more time. Larry joining us on the program here this morning. How you doing, man?
Hey, Dan. Yeah, I was thinking last time I was on your show, maybe 2010, so the subject matter and the questions we were asking and answering probably a little bit different than the ones now. Like, does Dabo Swinney have what it takes to be a head coach?
Well,
Billy Napier, the right guy to run the offense? Do they have the talent at receiver? How much more talented do they need to get at receiver? Can the defense stop anybody consistently? Anyway, that seems like another galaxy away.
Yeah, and if you remember, actually, in early 2011, after Clemson lost that bowl game in Charlotte to South Florida, I believe, we had Billy Davis on the show. And it was easily the most well-received interview that I had done in all the 11 years I was on the air over there, because if you recall, Billy basically challenged the Clemson administration, said you can't be Virginia and Duke Monday through Friday and be Clemson on Saturday afternoons. And that was kind of one of the linchpins, the old AARC controversy and everything else that was going on. And that kind of began what we have seen transpire over the last 6 or 7 years with this program. It doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, does it?
No, and you're right. I mean, and Billy was right, that, we have the benefit of hindsight now, of course. But, they spent a couple of decades trying to figure out who they were and who they wanted to be, You can't sort of be semi-serious about football. You got to be totally serious about it if you want to win at the level they've won in recent years. And that's really the most remarkable, or one of the, there's so many remarkable things about what they're doing, but one of the most is that you have that alignment with from the coaches to the AD to the administration, board of trustees. Everybody's on the same page, and what's really interesting about that and fascinating about it is that none of the people above Dabo were in power when he was promoted and then hired as the full-time guy. Of course, Terry Don Phillips was the AD, Jim Barker was the president, and you had a different chairman of the board of trustees, Bill Hendricks. And so usually when you have that kind of turnover above you as a head coach, that's a recipe for kind of a mess, perhaps, because you have different people in power with different ideas and different egos involved. And so the fact that they have not only been able to get everybody on the same page and to have everybody sort of row in the same direction, as they like to say, the fact that they've done it with all that change in the sort of administrative hierarchy really makes it all the more remarkable.
You know, one of the stories that I have seen in recent months, and of course I was over there when Dabo Swinney was named the interim coach in 2008, and Terry Don Phillips made a decision that he said at the time he knew would define his tenure as the athletic director at Clemson by going with an unknown who'd never even been a coordinator before, and giving him the chance to coach at that level. But when it was time for the interview after that 2008 season was over, that Dabo Swinney walked into Terry Don Phillips' office with basically two folders. One was his plan for building the football program, and one was his plan for marketing the football program and facilities increases. And the way the story was related to me, basically what was in those folders is what we've seen develop in the time since he's been the head coach.
Yeah, that's another really, really interesting part of this is, let's see, I guess about a year and a half ago, a couple of months after the national championship, I did a lengthy series, maybe 10 or 12 parts, basically talking to some key figures over there in the football program, outside the football program, just in their own words, sort of how impressed they are, or when they became sort of aware that Dabo was sort of next level as it comes to leadership and being a visionary. And one of the people that stands out is Bill Hendricks, who I mentioned a minute ago, who was the chairman of the board of trustees at the time, and he mentioned that binder, I guess, whatever Dabo had prepared. And actually, Dabo had started work on that before he became the interim coach. Like he had been up for a couple of head coaching jobs previous to that, and so he had begun sort of putting the wheels in motion of his ideas and his vision and his plan to build any program. And so the most remarkable thing about that binder he put together, looking back, is, like you just said, how much of that vision has come true and materialized, not just with facilities, not just with marketing the program and making Clemson much more viable of a brand nationally. Also, the people he's hired. I want to say, I could be getting this wrong. I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say that even back in 2008, he mentioned the names Tony Elliott, Brandon Streeter, Lemansky Hall, others that he planned on, he was going to hire eventually. And these are hires he's made. Let's see, Streeter he hired in 14, Elliott in 11, Lemansky Hall a couple of years ago. So, man, this guy, he wasn't just trying to win a few games and get the job in 2008. He wasn't just trying in 2009 just to win a division title and all that and just get by. He was thinking long term, and that's just that really speaks to his ability, and as a visionary that really were not apparent to many people at the time, but they were apparent to some of those folks who had more of a window into what he was thinking, what he was saying, what he was putting on paper as far as what he had planned for the growth and development of his program.
Yeah, it was an incredible story, and has been just an incredible stretch to watch how things have grown over the last 7 or 8 years. We're visiting with Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com. Also, the host of the brand new Clemson Dubcast. He's gotten so far into broadcasting that now he's doing his own podcast. How often are you doing that now?
I'm doing that twice a week, and I love it. Number one, because it's just a creative change up from what I do full time. Of course, it's under the Tiger Illustrated umbrella. Mm-hmm. It's just a supplement to what I'm already doing, and so, when I would come on your show years ago, and I go on Mickey's show, I mean, I enjoyed that, but that's time consuming, you know? And so the beauty of this approach is that I'm in control as far as I could go do an interview with somebody whenever I want to, whenever it's convenient to both the subject and me, as opposed to having a fixed window, whether, 8 to 10 in the morning or 11 to whatever. This is very flexible and sort of portable. I can go anywhere. I've got my recorder and microphones in a computer bag, and I can set up shop anywhere. And so that's what's fun about it. Also, the idea is not to do nuts and bolts play-by-play or analysis of a game. We already do that at our website in written form. And so this is more of a change-up where I can go talk to Gene Sapikoff, the longtime columnist at the Post and Courier, for stories about the press boxes in the 80s and 90s and relationships with the Clemson coaches at the time, South Carolina coaches, what it's been like going through all the different evolutions and changing landscape and all that. I mean, that's not something I would write about for my website.
Right.
But it is something that I think a lot of folks are interested in, just sort of like those little side stories. And, I've been interviewing people for 20 years for my job as a writer, and I love interviewing people, but 98% of the time, I'm, whether it's a press conference interview or a 30 or 40 minute sit down interview, I'm usually taking portions out of that interview and putting them into a story. It's not often that we run an entire Q&A with a subject on our website. And so I just love the conversational nature of a sit down interview, asking a open-ended, but short and hopefully sort of interesting question that provokes a good answer, and then just getting out of the way. I just really enjoy it. And so it's been really successful so far. I mean, the last time I checked, I think yesterday we had more than 8,000 downloads in just like a week and a half. And so I thought that there was a niche for it, but I had no idea that it would have such traction so early. And so it's been really cool. I really enjoy doing it, and I appreciate you mentioning it.
Yeah, I warned you all those years ago that if you're not careful, you'll get further and further onto the dark side, coming over to the broadcast end of things. We continue to visit with Larry Williams of TigerIllustrated.com and host of the Clemson Dubcast, Dub being for W, obviously, and Williams. All right, let's very quickly talk a little bit about Saturday with Furman coming over there. And I don't think there's any need to give this game any hyperbole. Everybody knows what Clemson is going to line up with. Maybe the best defensive front, one of the best defensive fronts in the history of college football. It is going to be a significant challenge for Clay Hendricks' Paladins. We know that. I think the question that's been on the minds of most people over on your side of things has been the quarterback battle. First of all, was it a surprise to you? I can't imagine it was, but you can answer that. Kelly Bryant was named the starting quarterback, and then I've got a follow-up to that after you get into that.
Yeah, no, zero surprise. I mean, Kelly, first of all, Kelly had a really good camp. Not that Trevor Lawrence didn't, but from all accounts and all appearances, Bryant he improved over the offseason and made a lot of strides, particularly with his downfield passing, which was one area where he really needed to improve on to hold on to his job. Another thing that made it really not surprising is that, Dabo and that staff, I mean, there's a track record, and I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just stating it as fact that, and they've acknowledged it, that when you have a competition between a veteran and a younger guy, a freshman, that veteran sort of status, if all things are equal, that is the equalizer. That gives, the veteran gets the nod in that case. And Jeff Scott even said a few weeks ago, look, the generally the younger guy in a competitive situation doesn't just need to be even, doesn't just need to be slightly ahead. He needs to apply a knockout punch. And so that's been my view of this quarterback battle all along, is that Trevor Lawrence, to take that job, is going to have to make a decisive case. I think he is capable of making a decisive case. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm certainly not denigrating Kelly Bryant, who was a good quarterback last year. I think that people just tend to go off the most recent result and conclude that is a bad quarterback given what happened in the Sugar Bowl against a great Alabama team. But I don't view it that way. I'm fascinated by this because now, after this battle has unfolded behind closed doors or closed fences or whatever, I mean, it's really, they're right there where they started. It's kind of a reset and very close battle, not much separation. And so now everybody's going to get to watch, and that's really exciting.
So the follow-up then would be, and you referenced the Sugar Bowl last year in the loss to Alabama. In your estimation, can Clemson win a national championship with Kelly Bryant at quarterback?
That's a great question. And really my takeaway coming out of the Sugar Bowl, and I think the takeaway from inside those football offices was, okay, Kelly Bryant is good enough to get Clemson to the playoff. Is he good enough for them to close the deal once there? I don't know the answer to that. I will say, and Dabo has pointed this out, they had some deficiencies at receiver last year as well, okay? So you had Deion Kane in that game dropping 3 balls that if he catches them, including one for a pick six, if he catches those balls, including one deep ball in the third quarter, and then there was one in the first quarter where they had like 3rd and 13 or something like that, and they were trying to get something going right in his hands wide open. Just saying that if their receivers are markedly better this season and Kelly Bryant is better this season, I think you can make a case that combined with this just terrifying defense, that, yeah, he can be good enough for them to bring home a national title. I'm not making that case. I'm just saying that is not an unreasonable thing to say.
Yeah. 60 seconds, Larry. What legitimately is the Clemson coaching staff saying about Furman from a scouting report? I mean, we see what is said in the press conferences and other things. Oh, Furman has beaten Clemson 10 times. Well, the last time I think was 1936 or something like that. So we know what a challenge it is over here from our standpoint. What are the folks at Clemson legitimately saying about Furman?
Well, I think that it probably starts with the option-based offense and just the quirkiness. And maybe also the unknown. Last year, Brent Venables spent all of the offseason preparing for a Kent State offense that disappeared when the game started. Kent State went straight to option stuff, ran a ball. I think they only passed it 2 times in the whole game, if memory serves. So anyway, just the threat of the curveball, I guess, and also the fact that 7 days after Saturday, Clemson has a major showdown in College Station. I'm not going to talk about looking ahead, because I don't think that in an opener of a highly anticipated season that you're going to have players thinking about Texas A&M, but still, there is the specter of that monster matchup that presents an opportunity for Clemson to go to a hostile environment and sort of flex their muscles. That certainly is something that they've been thinking about most of the offseason, more than Furman.
Well, it'll be intriguing to see how it happens. I know one thing's for sure. There are going to be 80,000 plus people over there for a 12:20 kickoff, and I know that our kids really relish the opportunity to play in those environments. And in the time that I've been here, they have gone into places like that and acquitted themselves very well more often than not. We'll see how it all plays out. Larry, tell everybody how they can follow exactly what you're doing on a daily basis.
Well, you just go to TigerIllustrated.com. $10 a month. That's a great value to get all the stuff, all the coverage and analysis and insight we present. You can also go to @LarryWilliamsTI Twitter feed, and you can we post every Dubcast there. You can stream it from the Twitter feed. So otherwise, also available on iTunes, Google Play, the normal platforms that that host podcasts.
I can say I remember him before he became a media mogul. He is Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com. Hey, it's good to talk with you again, my friend.
Yeah, likewise. Hope to see you Saturday in the press box.
All right, buddy. Thank you. That is Larry Williams. Well, you can see the guy sitting beside me when we come back from the break. We're going to talk some soccer, and not that we wouldn't have had a lot to talk about anyway, but now something else has popped up that I'm sure he's got a few thoughts on. That's Doug Allison, and we'll be back to wrap up the program in just a moment. Dan Scott Show continues right after this. Hey, everybody, Dan Scott. I've been telling you for some time now that I switched the protection of my home and family to Security Complete. I can tell you that I've been ecstatic with the results. Locally owned with more than 40 years experience in the industry, Security Complete uses nothing but the latest technology, which equals low overhead, which equals greater savings to the customer. Fully automated systems with monitoring rates much lower than the competition. Security Complete gives you all this and does not require a contract of any length. Find out more by calling 864-546-0630 or find them on Facebook and Twitter. Security Complete, my first line of defense. Make them yours today.
Looking for a great car, but your credit needs work? Premier Automotivations is a professional referral service motivated to help you drive a car you love while rebuilding your credit. Late model cars of all kinds. Premier Automotivations can get you on the road and your credit on the road to recovery today. Serving all of upstate South Carolina, it's Premier Automotivations. Call Sherry today at 864-722-3785 or email cricketgravely@gmail.com.
When you go in search of a fence company, what's your criteria? Experience? Trust? A company that gets it right the first time and stands behind its work? Then your search is over. Faulkner Fence has been Greenville's fence company for more than 40 years. Ed Faulkner started the business, and now Son Todd continues the tradition of excellence. So regardless of your fencing needs, commercial, industrial, or residential, trust the company that Greenville has trusted for over 4 decades. Faulkner Fence, 864-271-4626 or online at faulknerfencecompany.com.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show today. I'm Dan Scott. Our thanks to Larry Williams from TigerIllustrated.com for joining us to help preview Furman's season opener down the road at Death Valley on Saturday, 12/20. We'll be on the air with the countdown to kickoff, brought to you by Bon Secours St. Francis, coming up at 10:50 in the morning from Clemson. Doug Allison is back in town after a pretty interesting road trip into Big Ten territory for the first 2 regular season games. Right. Before we even get there, by the way, it's good to see you.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
The biggest news in the soccer world right now is the announcement that came, I guess, last night from former Furman star Clint Dempsey that after these many years, he's hanging it up. Announcement coming from the men's national team.
Yeah. I guess in the middle of a season or towards the end of the season, it's a little bit of a shock, but I think seems to be the right time for him. Clint knows what's going on, and he's always very competitive. But 15 wonderful years of being a professional is just, and 3 World Cups, scoring in each one he had quite a career. He really did.
I mean, 15 years in any sport is a good long career. I mean, if you look at what the average professional career is in football, I think it's less than 4 years, and you can go on that. So if you get that kind of career, I mean, you can't ask for much more than that.
No, and he's done it at the top levels too, Dan. I mean,
yeah,
he challenged himself first of all in the MLS, then he went to the Premier League, and to be the second leading scorer in the Premier League, just behind Wayne Rooney, in when he was completely in his heyday, is such a testament to Clint's competitiveness and how he always wanted to challenge himself to be at a better level, and challenge himself to be the best player he can be. And he was at a very good club in Fulham, but they weren't the top club in the league. And he was scoring a lot more goals than a lot of other players were. And then he ended up going to Tottenham, which was one of the top 4, they say, in the Premier League in England. Then to come back and continue that, but his performances in the World Cup were just. There's only one person that's ever scored in 3 World Cups in history for the U.S., and that's Clint.
Yeah.
And there's only, I think, 2 or 3 ever in the history of the game that's ever done that. And one of them's Clint.
As I was reading some of the tributes to him this morning, and most of these were talking about his time on the men's national team, one of the words that kept coming up about him and the way he played and the way he was viewed by opponents was tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the words that kept popping up.
Yeah, he's no matter who he played for or where he played, you got the most of Clint. I mean, no one really wanted to play against him because he always was trying the unexpected. He was always doing his thing, and how talented he was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't realize how big he was too, to be that talented too. So, larger than life character. I mean, we're just so proud to have him as one of our alumni. And he just was talking to Ben and Carly, but I mean, the amount of times that he would always talk, be on the phone or talk to his old teammates or his alumni or coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we ever saw him, or with my sons and that, he was always available. He'd always sign an autograph. He'd always take them under his wing. He even took Callum. His first training session at Seattle, he took my son Callum. He took him and said, "We're going to learn some real soccer now, Coach." And he took him, all, and he went training, and it was like I was a dad.
Right.
You know, all of a sudden, I wasn't a coach anymore. I was a dad. I'm like, what a cool moment for my son to have one of our alumni, such a big U.S. star, and he just said, "Come on, let's go." And he took him into the training session, and Callum was like, "I'm like, go, go." So go. So
don't be stupid, son.
No, and I'll tell you one other story with him is we went with several alumni. We were starting to build the field house, and Clint was very gracious to be a proponent of that with Clint Hill and Graham Seagraves and a lot of guys. So we went down to watch Clint play for the U.S. team against Scotland in Jacksonville. And the night before, they were in the big Jacksonville Jaguars football stadium, and the whole of the lower bowl was full to watch training, to watch him and Landon Donovan and a couple of guys and Callum, my son, who's met Clint several times. He was here he was born when Clint was here, and Clint calls him the little baller. We were up with some of the alumni, and Callum's like, "Dad, can I go down and see Clint?" I said, "No, not right now. We'll see him at the hotel later, but he's training right now." He goes, "Dad, let me just go." I'm like, "No, we'll see him later. We're here to see him, but not yet." And right at the very end of the training session, Clint's there signing some autographs, and he looks up, and there's a few thousand people there, and he looks right through, and he sees Callum, and he goes, "Hey, little baller," up to there, and he goes, "Come on down here." And Callum is one of those Crocodile Dundee moments, in the movie where, you see in the train station where everyone's just looking around, and it went so quiet, and Callum shouted out, "Dad won't let me." I'm like, so everyone's booing me at this time. He goes, "Let him go." He goes, "No, Dad won't let me come down." I'm like, "No, you go. So I was like the worst dad for about 5 seconds. It was awful.
Dad won't let me. That's classic.
Clint was like, "What are you doing? Let him come down." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
One more question about Clint, and then we'll talk about your current team. But when he was here and you were coaching him, and you can answer this honestly, or you can answer this and make yourself look good. So you answer however you want to. But did you have?
I don't know how to take that.
Did you have any idea, any clue as to what he might become? I mean, was there something special you saw in him when he was on this campus that, looking back on it now, you can say, yeah, that doesn't really surprise me that he did this?
Well, we saw something special in recruiting him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he was in high school. I mean, but he wasn't the best kid at that point coming out. Ricardo Clark came out that year, and the next year Shafiq Simo came out, who was just a terrific player. I mean, Clint wasn't necessarily the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He had the best potential, And some of the stuff he was doing in training was just your mind would go. You can't teach him that stuff. He just has that, but he had to learn to do it in discipline in certain areas of the field, not in the wrong areas of the field. But you never really can tell where these guys can go. It just, do they have it in them? Because you look in a professional's eyes, they're different. And he was different. And he was so driven to be the best. He wasn't going to accept being the second best. And even when he went to the MLS, he wanted to go to the Premier League. He said, I want to play in the Premier League. And when I went over to watch him for Fulham, and he invited us into his home, we were watching games and that. And I said, how's it going? Well, I want to play in the Champions League. After this year, I'm going to be done with Fulham. I'm going to go to Tottenham because I'm going to go and play in the Champions League. And I want to challenge myself every time to be the best player. Why am I just going to settle for just the Premier League now? I'm like, you're playing in the Premier League. You know, and he goes, well, I want to play there, and I want to play in the World Cup. And I'm going to play against Italy. And the first time he came on against Italy in the World Cup, when the U.S. were losing, he was taking on defenders. And he was the only guy doing that. He didn't care where he was, who he was playing against, their reputation. I'm Clint, and you're going to have to deal with me. And that's the attitude he had. And, you know, you could see glimpses of that. You just didn't know how far he could take that, because a lot of guys have glimpses, but his eyes and his competitiveness, he was something different.
We're gonna run over a little bit here, but at the end we've got as we're closing, a little about 2.5 minute video tribute that the men's national team put together that I'm going to play, and it's very interesting to see what young Clint looked like with the shaggy hair, and what he looks like now, and
we all had that.
It's pretty good stuff. You were a shaggy hair guy?
No, I didn't have your mullet that you had in the '80s, but
I was a preacher's son. My hair was never much longer than it is right now. I can promise you that. This is Doug Allison. He's the men's soccer coach here at Furman. All right, so 1-1 to open the regular season, and boy, what a way for your team to kick things off. You go to Ohio State in the Wolstein Classic, and you beat the Buckeyes on their home pitch. See, soccer term.
I like that.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
But I like where you're going with it, Dan. It was. We get on campus in the big 100,000-seater football stadium.
And Andrew Burr says nothing by the 2-0 by the way.
2-0. Okay,
but
that's
2-0.
Okay.
Okay.
And he, I mean, it's just having our kids in those areas and playing those games against those teams. We're always playing those teams, and we're always putting our school of 2,700 against a school of 45,000, 50,000. And our guys perform really well. Very, very proud of them. And, Rocky and Danny scored 2 nice goals, but it was a team game. I mean, we had almost every one of our squad play that day, which was fantastic to get that experience. And it was a new coach, Brian Mazanoff, his former U.S. national team guy, his first game. So the crowd was big, the atmosphere was good, and we squashed them and played really well. First 5 minutes, we were flying, and it was brilliant to see. And if we could have got that second game, it would have been even nicer. But to take them down on their own field is we've got something there, something to build on, no question.
So 2 days later, in the Classic, you come back and you lose 1-0 to Dayton.
Yep.
Was it looking back on it now with the benefit of hindsight, was it an emotional letdown after beating Ohio State? Was it fatigue? What was it?
A little bit of both. Didn't play as well. Definitely didn't play as well. I thought we were the better team, but we had 9 foreign guys playing on Dayton's team. So it wasn't an Ohio team, you know. But they were good, but I thought we could have been better. We created a lot more chances, but didn't execute, Dan. I mean, in a football term, we just didn't execute. And so losing that game was a little tough, and then a 9-hour trip after on the bus. So, but we'll come back. We're playing a very tough schedule. I mean, we tied Wake, who are number 1 in the country right now, and I mean, you see on the rest of the schedule, there's some very tough teams. What I'm trying to do with all this is prepare us for the conference at the end of the year.
What kind of bus traveler are you?
I like to talk to some of the players, but I mean, what kind of categories are you putting these in?
Well,
what kind of bus travel?
No, I just,
Do you sing or sleep or
I mean,
films?
what are you? I mean, all those years, the first 5 years I was here and riding the baseball bus, Ron Smith, pillow, boom, gone a lot of times.
Well, in England, we have great public transportation, so I'm used to traveling on the bus. So I was used to it. But you come in and pay a fare. Now there's no one taking the fare, and I'm like, this is great. I got a free bus ride. This is great. But I do want to say hello to someone. You got a viewer in England, a listener and a viewer. I mean, Miles Fenton's dad is a big fan of yours and the show.
Good.
And last time I said Miles was from Burnley. Well, Miles played for Burnley, and he's really from closer to Manchester. So, Mr. Fenton, I apologize, but Miles did want to say to you he's glad that he's not from Bradford, where his dad's from. So that's a little thing back. You take that up with Miles. That's directly from him to you.
Well, then maybe he can answer the question, or you can answer the question, because I have some of my best friends in the world split their time between England and here, about 6 months each place. And right now they live in Lincolnshire, but originally they were from Olney. So what kind of
Lincolnshire?
My
brother lives in Lincolnshire,
really,
and it's very, very famous for sausages. Lincolnshire sausages are delicious, but it's a great area of the country. It's right on the East Coast. So Lincolnshire's a beautiful area. A lot of farms. Farming towns and stuff. There's a lot of cabbages around the area, but they're very extremely famous for their sausages, Lincoln sausages.
Yeah. So if my wife and I ever get to go visit, now we have John and Julie Holman's, we have Miles, and now we have Doug Allison's brother. We can go see.
Yeah, you
right?
can go see them all, and you can actually interview them all.
There we go. Hey, back on the road Tuesday at Davidson before you finally get to play a regular season game at home on Saturday the 8th. Against Presbyterian, so got a little bit of stretch of time between games here.
No, we actually play tomorrow night. We go to Charlotte tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I overlooked that one.
Yeah.
So Charlotte and then Davidson.
Yeah, we go to Charlotte, who are very good. They just beat Florida Gulf Coast in their home opener, and in their place is a really tough environment. So we play them tomorrow night, and then we go to Davidson Tuesday, and then home opener is the Quinn game on the 8th when McNeil and Quinn will be back.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to interview them again.
I will be disappointed if they're not in studio. I'm really looking forward to that. That was fun last year, just watching her running around here and Mama sitting there on the steps playing defense. Playing goalie every time she got close to the steps. It was kick her back in.
Yeah, she just started kindergarten now, so she's running around classrooms right now.
That is fantastic. Yeah. So we'll invite people to, if they can't make the trip to Charlotte tomorrow, to check it out online. You can follow the live stats at FurmanPaladins.com. Then at Davidson Tuesday, and then the home opener on the 8th, and that's the Quinn
and we're going to
game.
visit a few alumni in Davidson. The Graham Seagraves is putting a group together of alumni up in North Carolina to host the guys. So looking forward to seeing the alumni.
Good deal. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Welcome,
and your reminiscence of Clint Dempsey. As we get out of here, I mentioned the men's soccer national team put together a video tribute for Clint Dempsey. So as the show closes today, that's how we're going to say goodbye. It's about 2.5 minutes, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. Scott Keeler will be in studio to talk high school football, and Brett Harker is going to come by. And you know me, I got to slip a little baseball in when we get the opportunities. All that is tomorrow here on the Dan Scott Show. Doug, thank you again.
More than welcome.
For Larry Williams, Doug Allison, and all of us here, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you. So long, everybody. Check out this tribute to former Paladin standout and now retiring U.S. national team member Clint Dempsey.
Here's a kid I really like. Clint Dempsey is on. He is the recipient of the Major League Soccer Rookie of the Year award this year, member of the New England Revolution. This kid's got a great future.
Puts it up there. Quick shot save off the front of James and a goal. Dempsey.
Anytime you play with the national team, it's an honor and a responsibility to try to represent the best that you can, and I've tried to do that throughout my whole career.
Zardes to Dempsey. Is this two? Dempsey! Yes, it is! Outdoor shot kicks in. The rebound is in for Clint Dempsey. For Dempsey, he's going to get there in the end. He's going to get his hat trick. Good ball in. It's Dempsey. Goal! Brilliant.
Just feels like he can run through a brick wall. That's how I would best describe when you score important goals on top of the world. Nothing can stop you.
Dempsey! 1-0! USA! That is the one they needed. And the man who's done it so very many times
Competition always makes you better, makes you more on point, keeps you on your toes.
Dempsey through the wall and 57 goals! Tied for the all-time U.S. record!
And Clint Dempsey doing what he does best, scoring goals. Congratulations, Clint.
As a kid, you don't know if you're ever going to be even called into national team camp, get that opportunity. I played in 3 World Cups, played in Confederation Cup final, semifinal of Copa America, won Gold Cups, being part of all the World Cup qualifying games, getting goals. I mean, man, I'm blessed. It's been awesome.